Alright guys, so we are now officially on Patreon. You can sign up for as little as £3 a month and get exclusive access to the live shows that we've just recorded, episode 0 that a lot of you have been asking about, and much, much more.
Yes, if you sign up for as little as £3, you can get...
Not a mug.
Not
Don't
a
thrust
mug.
the mug on 3.
That's a higher tier, the mugs.
You're not getting a mug for 3.
That's 10 quid. But I mean, you can get a mug, you can get access to early tickets for live shows.
Yeah.
Future live shows, and you'll get an extra bonus episode at least once every 2 weeks.
Yes.
Yeah, and we hope to be more and more, and we'll have other features and other wee projects on the go as we build, depending on how many sign up. So it's a great way to support the podcast as well. A lot of you have been getting in touch just to ask if there's some way that you can support the show, and so now there is. You can sign up to the Patreon. There's a couple of tiers, as the guys mentioned, and obviously top tier, the 10 quid one, you do get one of the official Some Laugh mugs, including some extra bonuses and features that we'll get up there for you.
We're leveling up.
Yes. We can even maybe give you a wee shout out if you give us more money.
Yeah, we'll figure all that out. That'll be in the details, so you'll have a look on the Patreon
Let's not
yourself.
promise too much right
Let's
now.
not promise.
I think that's easy enough.
Yeah, that's it. Steve will make you some Hawaiian blowjobs or something like that. And but yeah, listen, guys, that is Patreon up and running now for all the exclusive content. I know a lot of you have been keen to see the live show as well. And if you want to come along to the next one, that's where you get access to tickets before anyone else. So enjoy the Patreon and enjoy today's episode.
Thank
Cheers,
you.
guys. Sign up.
Welcome to the Some Laugh podcast.
It could be like, oh, that was some laugh, or there was just some laughs.
Well, no promising all laugh.
No, there's going to be some.
It's some laugh.
So you were knocking rolls, was it?
No, books when I
The
worked
books
in...
were given.
Don't
Gladly.
you know the...
Do you not know that Gary's origin
origin
story?
story, yeah.
Vaguely, but I want. That's why I want to kind of get into a wee bit with you.
Aye,
so
right.
You were in the jail. Is that right? For knocking books.
That's a bit vague, you know, like, because there's been different times, you know, like, but the last time was for books.
Right. How many times have you been in?
3, just 3.
Just three.
Just three.
That's right.
And the last time was books.
Theft of books.
Gary's always been an avid reader, and listen,
Hey, as I said in my highly successful Edinburgh show, you know, like talking about it, I was spreading knowledge and information through the medium of literature. The judge and jury just said I was knocking books and selling them on eBay.
So did you work for some?
I worked a night shift in HarperCollins, and like it was books that were, and it was mostly audio books, like CDs and stuff.
Right.
And they were all going to get pulped. They were getting like, you know. So, you know, I'm quite an eco warrior, so I was thinking recycle. And that's how
For
it
the
was.
environment, and it was to spread knowledge.
Before I knew it, I was a superhost. Not a superhost, a super seller. A super seller, yeah.
How do you know how you get caught?
Aye, the timing was terrible, right? Because I decided that was my days over, like working for them.
Right.
So I went, but I'll go on the sick for 3 months just to wind it down. And,
Quiet quitting, they call that.
Aye, what do they call it?
Quiet quitting.
Aye, well, so I knew I wasn't getting back, and there was
Did they not ask for money, the holiday pay back? No,
No.
A sick pay. You said?
No,
Rinse it.
so there was I think that was the least their sort of worry after a guy selling hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of books. Oh, by the way, you was 30 quid for fucking sick pay.
You don't think you really had the cold that day, guy?
Aye. So I had sold, there was these Lord of the Ring books, they were limited, they were like £100. And I was selling them at £30. And some obviously book dealer in England contacted HarperCollins grassed me and went, how can he sell these at this price when they cost us even more?
Oh, right.
And that was how it started.
So you were trying to sell them, how were you, on eBay? Or
on eBay.
Aye.
I think you'd have got away with it if you sold them full price.
That's not me. I'm always a bargain. You know, it's a bargain. Yeah, like,
How long did you get for that?
27 months.
Aye.
Shocking.
Is that with good behaviour, or is that...
No, I got it after 7 months, and then I was on a tag for 6 months.
Right.
Which was funny because, like, obviously a tag's normally 7 in the morning to 7 at night.
Right.
But my argument was, I did comedy. Like, you know, like,
Aye.
so the deputy governor didn't like, so he was like, it doesn't matter. and but the governor, who had luckily seen me at the stand, so he knew that this talent shouldn't be harmed.
I hate to give you this sentence, I'm a big fan.
But so I get it changed from 1 in the afternoon to 1 in the morning, which meant I could do gigs as far as Dundee, and you'd be back. But it meant I couldn't get out the house until 1 in the afternoon.
Not allowed to go to the library.
So
You think they would just have the fucking Waterstones opening times for you? Because I remember you saying, I think you act as well about how obviously that's a bit of a tough sell in the jail when you.
I know what you're in for. Books. What do you mean? Like, would you do what? Fiddling them, like embezzlement? No, knocking them.
So you obviously are saying there about the judge had seen you do stand up and that, and we were just talking before we started recording about the fact. So you started in your first stand up gigs in kind of house parties and stuff. Is that right?
I'm not like any different from probably the majority. Like, they're the arseholes at a party. They either think they're funny or they're arseholes. And somebody had been to a couple of my parties and she knew a guy that ran a comedy club, and she went, you should get this guy. And obviously I asked me, and I said aye, but then sobered up. And then he kept phoning me, and I eventually just gave it a go.
So like these were your house parties?
Aye, legendary, let me emphasise, legendary. If you
and you were like, get people just
people would just come back. I used to go to Sub Club, right? Aye, 100 years ago, right? Like, don't let the bonnet fool you, right? I was a mad partier. A big shout out to the Springburn Knitting Club. If you're in the Springburn Park area, they've opened up a wee community cafe. And they had a sale on me, like, the woman have obviously knitted bonnets and like hats, and so I went, all right, I'll go and support them. So if you're in Springburn Park, roll sausage is only $1.50. Sorry for the snack bars that are parked round about the park that are slightly dearer.
Because we've had to a sponsor.
So I'm representing the knitting, £2.
That's
all right.
Is the Springburn know where the McGee's factory is, isn't it?
That used to be. That used to be because that guy that originally owned the McGee's, he came to my 18th birthday party, dressed up. He was came as Napoleon. Was
that a fancy dress?
I've got to tell you this. This is a good story. Like, because like I dressed up as a Roman, right? So my girlfriend at the time had a flat in Great Western Road, right across for the church. Just along for Hillhead. Webster's along the next church, a big church. So I'm not making this up. So everybody's mad, and everybody was fancy dressed. So somebody came to the door. And I was like, right, what is it? And they went, this cunt, he goes, he's telling us to turn the music down, turn the music off. So it was like, this guy just looked like a hippie guy, the beard and all that. So I was like, what? He went, I'm here to tell you to turn the music off. I said, no, we're not turning it off. I said, I'll turn it down a bit. Like,
what time is this in the morning, roughly?
Fuck knows. He went, you'll turn it off or I'll get the police. So my mate, he's a cowboy. He's like firing. He's gun at him, right? And I Jesus sounded. So I'm like going, fuck off. So just sort of prodding him down the stairs, and then about an hour later, the door goes and there's a copper. But first of all, people thought it was somebody for the fancy dress, and he's like, the minister has alleged that he was assaulted. It was the minister for the church, and I was like, the pure Romans and Christians like me. You can imagine him telling that story. It would be
a Roman book.
So the guy from McGee's, his
was that the first time
girlfriend at the time?
No?
I didn't get it.
So you'd done your house parties. People came up after Sub Club.
We just partied for mates house parties. You just partied for a day or two.
You're such a good host at a party. People, Gary, we need to start paying you.
So what?
But I remember my sister's boyfriend. He went, no, when he knew I was going to try comedy, he went, no, Gary, he goes, you sort of intimidate people to laugh at your house. I was like, thank you for that small disservice. And he went, it'll no work when you go on stage, as if I needed everybody to be mad with it, to find me funny.
But like, cause you're quite a big guy. What are you, 6? What?
You certainly don't get heckled a lot, Gary.
Oh,
I know that.
Don't say that because somebody will. Do you know, when I first started, because you know when you start doing comedy, you go, I need to have a bank of put downs, because I'm going to get heckled. You know, like the few times that, and they weren't even heckling; they were just like chat. I remember at the state bar, so you know that wee place, and there was a stag do. You know, like there was about 11, but they were only chatting. But you know, like, and all I could say was like, I know there's a few years, but I'll go ahead with everyone. But I already knew that if they went right, well, I'll go. What? No, take a joke. Just
what did they say when you said
no, they just shut up. You know?
Because you're imposing, so people would probably go, fuck, I don't want to mess with him.
Aye, but I guaranteed somebody will, you know, like no. Can I just say as well, you know, just while I'm talking to you, Stephen, you sent me a message saying Steve's getting his car. Well, is that what you're known as, Steve?
Well, just depends. I go by a few names. Stevie, Steve.
See, here, I've got a thing with names, right? Because I think Steve is like a big guy. Big Steve, wee Stevie. And it's like Big Bill. Yeah, wee Billy. Yeah, like
the
Big Thomas, wee Tam. I always think like
He's more a Stevie than you.
Aye, a Stevie or a Stephen because I see him as quite middle class. Yeah, I think if he goes Stevie,
he's only been in jail twice.
I think if he goes Stevie, he's just trying to bring himself down to this sort of scheme. Yeah, like,
well, I don't
Stevie
mind.
B is what
Stevie B is what people sometimes call me. In school, I was called just B. Sometimes people just call me B.
It's funny though, Gary, because I actually see every time I message you, I always need to bear this in mind because I know that you hate people calling you mate.
I do. There's no need for it. That it's pure lazy. It's like because I call everybody their name. I think it's obviously a generational thing now because you didn't really call people mate. When I was younger, you know, like, but it's just like you go, mate, and when people, especially people that know you well, and you go, I'm right next to you. Like, just call me my name.
What if they don't know your name? Would you think?
Well, if they don't know your name, what are they talking to me for? Yeah, like, let's be honest, like, yeah. But
what about man? How do you feel about man?
That, like, because, like, I remember my pal used to call everybody man until he was going, I was talking to my old man. Like, I just going, you know, like, and then, like, my pal used to call everybody Da. He'd be like, all right, Da. Until one day we were going to at this wedding and he's like, you's going to that dude?
There's more to avoid embarrassment sometimes. But then you must get people's names wrong because I didn't.
No, I'm terrible. My memory's terrible, and I've even got my cousins and I remember we met my cousins, and like I know there's 4 brothers, and I know all their names, but I couldn't remember the order. And I'm like, I says, see if I don't introduce you within 5 seconds, it means that I don't know their name. You know, like, just you go, hi, I'll introduce myself. You know, like, but mate is just, it's just lazy. Lazy.
But I'm not like that as well. Like, if I don't introduce someone by their name, then it means I don't know what their name is. So that's their cue to go, by the way, my name's that. And then you can find out their name.
And there's also the danger they'll go, I'm not your fucking mate.
But it's a bit, it's lazy. It can be patronising as well. If they call you pal, it can be aggressive. Yeah. You're Scottish. What's that, pal? What's that, pal? Yeah, you know that's not a friendly pal. Like, just.
What about buddy? That's quite an American.
No, that's Paisley.
Paisley? They're buddies.
Is that why they're called
Paisley
buddies?
Aye, that's really? Paisley's like
take
sort
the
of bud.
piss at the fact that they say that word.
No, that's just you call them Paisley buddies.
Yeah, it's quite an American thing as well.
Like,
I was with my buddy the other day, that kind of thing.
Or Canadian, as you showed.
So Gary, I know that you're not a stranger to the airwaves yourself. In fact, I believe that back in the day, you were a pioneer.
I was an Irate Pirate. You talking about the pirate radio? Scotland's first pirate radio station.
The Irate Pirate.
Aye, yeah, I just made that up. The Good Vibration Station. It was Radio Mercury, where we launched the blistering career of like Slam. Slam were our first DJs.
Right.
And this is in the 80s. Like, and me and my pal Barney, who runs Carlton Studios down at next to the Sheriff Court, and me and him started the pirate radio station, and Scotland's first. I still say we never get the respect, the acknowledgement that we should, because we were just two mad druggies at the time. Whereas if Slam had started it, it would have been the pioneers, or Colin Barr or somebody for
a documentary on BBC Scotland.
Aye, but do you know what I mean? It would have been respect due, but it was that's eight cunts that I was mad with it. That's and but we spent a fortune, and I get caught 3 times.
Playing Lord of the Rings audio book.
And every time you get caught, it was a bigger sentence, and then the next time I would have got caught, they would have probably jailed us, But
so what was pirate radio exactly?
Pirate radio was like, so we would pick a frequency, you get a transmitter. So when we first started, this is how back to basics, because we were kidding on, we were in a studio, right? But with 2 Walkmans. So you had two tapes, cassettes, young team cassettes, Google it. So you do 2 Walkmans and like a lead into the transmitter with a car battery. And then, because you used to broadcast outside, and then as one show ended, you turn the volume down as if you were mixing into the next one. You're like, okay, I can see through there in the Studio 2. We've got the Candyman. I was called the Candyman. We all had names like Boy Wonder, like Slam with the Backstreet Posse, and we named everything. They used to put on I've put on an American accent, but they used to. In a review, they said that this guy, pure hustle, said I sounded like Wolfman Jack and Mogadon, who went into strictly surreal monologues of schoolboy humour, which made me sound interested.
That's a good poster quote.
Yeah.
Aye, but it was great. Like, we did an interview with Gary Glitter, like, because back then it was a simpler time. Like, we were sort of pals with the people that ran the Badlands, and like, so they used to give us tickets, and we'd give them like have a prize, like, it was always with pals. We'd just give them our pals and say you won the Radio Mercury competition, right? And I remember like Gary Glitter was because he used to do the Christmas shows every year at the Badlands, and so it was the first time I'd interviewed somebody. So we get into the dressing room, and me and my mate were mad with speed, because that was the drug of the time, speed, right? So we're in there, and there was loads of drink, and this fucking wee helper guy came in, he's like, do you want a drink? And I couldn't focus in, and then, because I was nervous, and you're like, and I was like, hey, I'll just have a wine or something, and he went, have you tried tequila? And I'd never tried it. I went, aye. So he poured like fucking that. And so then Gary Glitter comes in, perfect wig on and all that, fucking, you want to be my gang, right? And so the question started, I was like, so Gary, you've been around for a few years now. I mean, how long are you going to keep it going? Like, and then, but the end of it, I'm getting my hair and I'm going, so Gary, you go to this party or what? we were trying to get me a party in Copelaw Street in Govan Hill, right? So this was the first time we had experienced like backstage, like the VIP bit. So me and my pal went, and the glitter band and all that, and whoever else was supporting. There was loads of food and stuff, the way you see it, like. So we are like pure scheme fucking scum, like. So my mate's like, going you up again. So I'm going up, right, and we're getting cans, right? So, there's no rush. It's ours, but we're still like, just get... So I'm not exaggerating. So we had... This was when leather jackets were... And so I had my leather jacket with fucking 10 cans each. And, like, you weren't allowed to take drink back outside.
Aye.
And we were laughing, clunk, clink, clunk. And the bouncer was like, I was like, it's all right. Gary says it's all right. Then we're up at the front, like, but we did the interviews with we were the only radio station getting interviews with the Beastie Boys.
All right.
You're like in a. That was their first tour in
Is that
New
what the
Order.
Gary Glitters band used to be called before?
The band had nothing to do with it. So New Order and stuff, but a quick New Order one. So it was like the old guy who owned the Badlands. It was his retirement, so they were having a karaoke after it. So me and my pal were sitting, and he's singing, like Bernard the singer is singing an Elvis number, Wooden Heart or something. And my mate jokingly went, that'll be in a bootleg next week, right? And the manager then went, Scottish git, something like that. My mate straight away went, Moors Murderers. Because I'm in Manchester, where the Moors Murderers were, and everyone's like, that's how to kill the... But I'm like, my pal, like, he's a pure chance. I'm like, I said, ask him if I want, because smoking hash, and I went, ask him if I want a wee line of speed. And he's like, you want to buy a line? You want to buy a line? Aye, so we did the radio for about 3 years, like...
So that's outside, you were saying? Like, you have to plug into a car battery?
And a car battery, we used to go up to Bonnytown Golf Course, which is up in East Kilbride. Because the way radio works, it's line of sight. So because we wanted to start Pirate TV, because we get in touch with these guys, really cool guys, a German guy and a French guy, who ran Britain's first, you get it on YouTube, Network 21. And I was like, now you could, it probably wouldn't be the same vibe because you've got the internet. But back then, you're like, to have a TV station, you're letting it, and it was dead avant-garde stuff and that. We would have, fuck knows what we would have done.
Could have done some of your sets. I
was cracking you. Like, we had guys, because nobody was doing, before world music, we had this African guy, and like he was playing all this stuff. This is years before like fucking Nat Kershaw, like before world music was a thing. He was playing all this, and like we had this guy, DJ Hex, crank guy, and he played all that right industrial stuff like Front 242 and stuff and that. But he was going blind, right? He was going, just popped up. So I had the studio in my bedroom, right? But it was cataracts, I think. But he needed a stick and that, and his girlfriend brought him over. So I remember I was like, come on in. I says, well, come in here. And I've shut the door and clunk. He's fucking walked into the door, right? So I'm like, do you want me to work in it? And you're like... He's like, no, I'm all right. He was just fucking sliding everything. You're like, just, there's been independent, mate. And then I was just, we want an equaliser through that whole sound. Talking about pirate. Before that, I did pirate cassettes, like gigs. Like people would just go into gigs, record with like a cassette. It wasn't fancy. You'd hear, for fuck's sake, like, if it was recorded at Badlands or something. Just like
somebody talking about the Moors Murders.
You get any speed, Candyman?
So, and did you sell those tapes?
Oh, aye. Actually, the guy who I got them for was the original. What was his name again? He used to manage Wet Wet Wet. He was the first manager for them for a few years, and
Clydebank Boys.
And he used to do. He had a company that done all the posters, the fly posting, that run about the city. That was his company, but did that, and then I moved on to pirate videos. So yeah,
I should have an actual pirate.
I should have a patch.
So were you like up the bar selling pirate?
No,
videos?
I had like. I used to just go in with a suitcase in the scheme.
Aye.
So they would get them for a Saturday to a Tuesday to a Thursday to Saturday, £1. Because when I started, there was Betamax kids, Google it.
What was the better version of VHS?
That was better, because VHS came out first. Right. But you would get, so I did VHS and Betamax, but then you just get people telling you to go, well, you go to my pal, and then you get them, as it went on, you get people going, hey, do you do Betamax? It was almost apologising for asking that do you do Betamax? I'm like, I've got First Blood, but that's been a couple of years, sorry.
So I get the fact that like selling tapes and videos and that is pirating, but how's radio pirating? Because if you're doing your own thing,
because you're supposed to have a licence,
right?
And you can't, but because we made the mistake, right? Because First of all, we were 95.1 because Radio Clyde were 96.1.
Right.
Or they were 95 because we thought people try to tune into them will tune into us by accident. And then they moved to 102.5 and we moved to 103.5. But one day, like, we needed a new transmitter. And we had this guy, he was a sort of technical, he told us what to get. And I ordered this transmitter for Canterbury. You know how far Canterbury is? It's as far south as you can go. So I drove down there all night, picked up this, drove all back, and then when I got the guys like that, oh, that's the emergency frequency. How you fucking told us? You're like, then I started crying because it'd been a long weekend. So you just pick a frequency, like a crystal, and then that broadcast on that.
People find you basically. Or
Aye, we used to advertise with day nights on at the sub club in Fury Murray's and stuff. Yeah. But I remember because we used to have to move about people's houses, because they eventually lock in. That's how they find you. But we're broadcasting. This lass, I know, she had a flat in Dumbarton Road in Partick, but it was above the taxi office. And we put the area up on the roof, and it was obviously interfering. and the cunt was up at the door banging, and I was like, and he's like, there's definitely something going on in there because I seen that guy putting up fucking an aerial, and we're like, right, we'll just broadcast tonight and then we'll move on.
It was just the fancy dress taxi driver.
Was it weird for you? Because see when I started, Gary, because you were at the point like where you were selling your DVDs and stuff like after gigs, that must have been weird because was that the only time you've sold products that weren't pirated? Aye. I better not see these doing the bars now, are they?
They couldn't match my £5.
What would you do if you got somebody recording your stuff and selling them?
I think you're very sad. you're very sad that you think there's a market for that.
You say that, but like, because as I say, I remember that time. Because I remember you had a couple of DVDs like when I'd started, and obviously that big clip for the garage about talking about the arches and all that, which is fucking
That's
brilliant.
Right. That was the first thing I'd seen actually. I think
that was the one because that was the first time I actually ever done that routine. Because see, when I did it, I hadn't even rehearsed it or even. I thought I'll do it just before the break, so if it dies in its arse, like at least there's a break.
Aye.
So, and you can see if you watch it, like you can see I'm feeding off the reaction. I'm sort of go. This is you're like, oh, I'll add this or but it's like one of these sketches, that. You still get people going, we do that. I'm like, look, I'm doing a Masonic hall here, mate. Unless there's a techie up there. You've got to have that.
Oh, aye. So did you get that? A lot of people requesting bits.
Just we've all got a classic sketch, haven't we? People they go, oh, that they know you for it and that.
The bit about walking the dogs in the park.
That used to.
Because then you filmed that, didn't you?
We did that in Kirton Tulloch. There's a few sketches, and with the sex party one, we did that as well. With
the dildos, no.
No, the guy with the Pringles.
I don't know if that. You maybe stopped doing that before we maybe even seen that guy.
You've not trolled my back.
It's not one of the DVDs.
I've only got it on Betamax. I can't watch it.
See, I remember seeing doing a gig with you. And you came back and you done 25 minutes and talked about like classic bits. It was just 5-minute bits that were all fucking amazing. And I was honestly one of the best sets I've ever seen anyone have.
Please remind me of them. I'll try and bring them back.
Do you know what I always like that story you had about saying you'd been told when you were a wee guy you'd been to Florida?
I had been to Spain, but I was too young to remember it, which is a true story. A true story. And then Elvis, I bet you'll know his
Uncle Elvis.
And that was so true. The lies. Talking about all you blind parents out there.
So you were told, basically for the listeners, if they've not listened to it, you were basically told that you'd been on holiday when you were a wee guy. I was
young, it was 1970, so I was 7. For the young team that are trying to work out my age, just now I'm 59, right? So, but back then, and I was talking about being on holiday, and I said to my mum, where have I? She went, oh, you've been to Spain, Gary. And I went, but I can't. She went, you were too young to remember. And it wasn't until I was 12 that all came out that I was only telling you a wee piece of shite just to impress your pals. And she broke down that trust barrier between me and my ma.
And because one of the bits for that Archie's sketch that you done as well, that I always think of this, like just that line, because because it's like when the wee guys come up and offer you an egg or something. It's like, yeah, I've tried an egg, and you're like, do you know who I used to be? Who did you used to be, Gary?
Well, like
The Candyman.
I did use that line because see when I'd been away, like I'd been away for 4 years, so this was my first weekend out. And
So
it was
this
like,
in jail? You
Should have told your ma you were in Spain.
but I don't want to remember it. But we went to the Sound House, and it was New Year. And during New Year, they bump up the prices for entry and all that. So I was with my sister and this other lassie, and we got there. And I was joking. I was purely joking because I went, much is it? You know, and they were like, I went, fuck's sake. I was like, do you know who I used to be? Right. And then the guy went, no. But the other bouncer went, aye. And you go, Gary. I was like, you know I was only kidding, didn't you? Because it's not like, do you know who I am?
Aye.
It's like, do you know who I used to be? Which is like sadder. But funnier.
So had you been doing stand-up before?
No. I was doing stand-up before the books.
Right.
You're like, and
That was the last time you were in jail.
And so when I went in there, people knew me for the sort of comedy. I have
Celebrity.
wee chapters in my life. People remember me for this. But there's probably some fucking cunts going, you sold me a Gary Glitter cassette live at Tiffany's.
So when did you start stand-up?
2003.
And that, is this like actual stage, or is this your house parties?
No, I've been funny for years before that at the house parties. No, 2003 I tried the whole. It was that Billy Bonkers. You probably know the name,
I've
Billy
heard the name,
Bonkers.
aye.
You don't used to run the state?
The
or
state,
something?
here in the state. So I supported him, and I didn't have any material because fortunately, and nothing's changed because I was like, what are they talking about? And I had a party one night, right? And this lassie went, could you watch my, never met her before, she's like, could you watch my dog? And I was like, how long? But and she lied, right? She said it was like fucking a week or so, and she went to America for 3 weeks or so. But because I was doing the night shift at the time, like in the factory per cause, so I was like, well, I talk, and then I was like, right, and I started talking about the dogs because I went, when you come in for a night shift at 7 a.m, I had to take the dog out. I said, so ideally at that time in the morning, after you want the dog to do a shite within 6 feet of the house, right? You don't really want to go a walk and stuff.
Yeah.
But this dog wouldn't shite in the pavement. And I live in Port Shields at the time. You wouldn't shite in the pavement. I was like, so I had to walk. And then I found the Oasis, the kiddies play park, right? And I was like, yes, shite away, right? And I had the dog in the lead there. I remember a woman going, I hope you're going to pick that up.
This is back before it was mandatory.
Aye. And I was like, what? And she went, your dog poo. And I was like, what dog poo? I knew she was meaning the dog was doing a shite. She's like, what dog? She went, the dog that you're fucking holding a leash. I went, I might. might come back later. So that was the first sort of routine that I did. And then, talking about the dog and stereotyping aliens. Still remember how we've never met an alien, but if you were asked to describe an alien, you go, he'd like a light bulb, fucking 3 feet tall, no dress sense, sort of leisure wear. Whereas if I went, I met an alien, about 6 foot tall, but sort of like a mullet, and like a trackie, and you go, that's a German or something. People would argue, we go, how's that an alien? You go, what does an alien look like?
That's a good bit.
It still stands the test. I might bring that back.
Bring that back.
Discriminating against the UFOs.
But it is, because my thing came back, I went, it was the crop circles. Remember the crop circles?
You're responsible for them.
No, but I was like, I says, they told me the crop. I says, you don't tell me there's no an alien, because they were saying it was aliens. I'm like, you don't tell me there's not an alien with a sense of humour. Like, they're big cock and balls. Like a big 100-foot cock and balls. But again, people would say that's not an alien. Go, how? It'd be just a a funny fucking alien, you like.
An alien that's a good laugh.
Aye, one of you's go, I don't mind hanging out with you, right? Put these denims on, you look mental with that fucking whatever you're wearing.
And how did your first gig go down? Do you remember?
It went crank because, probably because most of the cunts I knew, like no, it was a right buzz, like,
See if it was shite, would you have done it again?
I would never have done it again.
Aye.
Because I was too old to go, I'll just get back on the old comedy, like, my ego wouldn't have took it, but I just went back to house parties. It might have even killed me for house parties.
So it's lucky that you got like a good audience in, because...
No, it's lucky that I was good. I think you find Stevie Boy.
One thing is what I ask you about Gary, because I don't know I got about the jail stuff too much, but you told me about, like, obviously when you were in the jail and stuff, like sometimes like women would write letters to you.
Loads of women like to write to guys in the jail. You go, that's quite sad. It is really sad, because the saddest thing about it is the majority of them have been in abusive relationships, shitty relationships. So they're writing to a guy, first of all, they know where he is, right? And the person's writing back to them all the time, and it's going to be all good stuff. He's not going to be like, fucking you, which is quite sad then, but but when I was in, because you got to remember, like, a lot of the guys in the Nick, they're not the smartest, right? I just mean, like, a lot of them are bums, that probably no good at writing, and that they're not in touch with their feminine side like I am.
Not read as many books as you.
But so this guy, in fact, he's not going to watch this, but Clarky, right? He's for Denison.
You can bleep the name.
But no teeth, like, but a crank guy, but a junkie. That's what he was. He was I got on really good with him, and we'd got a couple of, this will show how unlucky now. I'm in the jail for like a long sentence, and I've got 3 people that I can pick for, three lasses. This guy next door,
it's like dinner date. It's like dinner date or something.
No, but he's like, he goes, big man, I've got a couple of names here if you want to write to somebody. I was like, okay. So the one I got to was in fucking Aberdeen jail for murdering a guy. And pure bad luck. I mean, she got away with it. She stabbed a guy with a tatty peeler, and he was an abuser. He came up, he battered this lassie. It was a bit. So I'm glad that she got away with it. I'm glad that she stabbed the cunt. But I mean, I wasn't getting any visits or anything. So. But this guy Clarky, so he goes, big man, he goes, you're into all that writing and stuff. Like, you mean I can write? That doesn't mean I'm into all the. He went. Got to write as a letter. I've got this lassie, right? And Helen, her name was, and so I'm like, hi Helen, blah blah blah. So obviously I'm writing it a bit the way I would write it. And he's like, say I'd been to the gym and all that. Say I'd been to, like, he maybe knows a guy called Jim, but he's certainly never been to a gym, right? So I'm writing. So I sends her the letter. So she sends it back. So it's like Cyrano de Bergerac or fucking Roxanne for the sort of less educated viewers. I'm reading the letter, and it's like, oh, Clarky, you sound a right laugh and all that, right? So, she keeps coming to my door and going, will you write us a letter? And I'm going, fucking hell. No, I'm not making this up. I'm not making any of this up. So I'm writing the letter. So I'm going, I says, look, Clarky, because he had been going to a adult literacy class as well in the jail. So, like, probably like a couple of words. So I went, you're going to have to write some of this letter. I said, I can't keep writing the letters and that. Because she hadn't seen them yet. Aye. But there's a thing in the jail called a spec visit where you can just turn up, but you're behind the glass panel. And she just turned up one day. And I was thinking, what is she thinking of him? Sitting there going, all right, by the way, and all that, like, after all the stuff.
And she's like, really use your pattern.
Kind of like now when you're on dating apps and you have all this chat with someone and you meet them in real life and they don't
you got like you filling out a fucking form. Is there a form that you just fill out that to make you sound interested? So, but then she came to see him at a visit, and I seen her, and she was really good looking, right? Not that she shouldn't be, but I was thinking, what the fuck's she coming to see him for? So like, yeah, a wee bit of jealousy. Right. So I said to him, I said, look, I'll start after later and then you can just finish it. Right, yeah, so like, just give a wee... So I'm writing going, I can't wait to meet her and go for a meal and all that. Pre-theatre, 9.95. I say, we'll go for a walk, let fucking blah, 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 right? So I gave him the letter, right? No, I'm not making this... So I've left... We're at the dinner table, basically. We've got a bottle of wine, right, Fiverr. Good stuff. It's good stuff. And so he gives me the letter back. So I'm like, blah, blah, can't wait to meet you. We'll go for a wee. He's like, I can't wait to shag fuck out of you. And I was like, that's what you're writing that. He goes, that's how I talk. I went, you can't. I said, you can't eat like that, Helen. And he's like, what do you mean, Helen? She's my bird. I was like, she's only your bird because I fucking made her your bird. And he's like, what, you trying to fire into my bird? And I was like, no. So I went, well, you'll not hear back for her. I says, you'll not hear back for her, right? So he sends the letter. Fucking 2 days later, like, I think it was recorded delivery, it was that fast. Comes back, and I went, where's the letter? He's like, oh, it's private. I was like, oh, what? So I'm not getting to read the filth. She must have been like that. Thank fuck, at last all that shite walking in the park. I'm not interested in a walk. Yeah, like, but so she must have been writing a pure filth, and I was like, fucking, I says, let's see. I went, no, it's private now. Like, and, but I was thinking because he was getting out in parole, and, you need an address, like to say that so they can check on you and that. And she was giving him her address that he could say. And I'm going, I mean, I would like to think that love ran its course and they're happy, but he's punted her telly fucking within 2 weeks. He's moved in there like punted. He's not something. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Did you ever think you're trying to get in touch with her yourself?
I know. I should have kept the address, but but my one, and I know this will make me seem so shallow, right? But remember, I was in there for several years, so I can't waste, I've got to think myself. So the lassie that I was writing to, she told me she liked a good drink, so I knew she was going to look like an alky, right? I knew that, right?
Tell for the handwriting.
Aye. And she came from up north, right? But I eventually she gave us her phone because she got out in bail. So I was phoning her, and she's that lovely.
That got done for murder?
Aye, she's that lovely Highland Lil, that wee sort of singing voice. And I was, because I didn't know what she looked like, I sort of knew what she looked like, but it wasn't confirmed, right? And I was. So I could have my own fantasy. She was right pure filth. And I was like, again, do not judge me. I was in the jail, that's, fuck's sake, so I didn't know what she looked like. But then when it came to her trial, she sent me because she got away with it, she sent me the clipping, the newspaper, because obviously the newspaper did and when I opened the letter, the fucking photo fell out, and I was like, and I seen it, right? I seen her in Myra Hindley with a drink, right? Sort of, and it just killed any sort of illusions that I had. And I did feel really bad. I felt bad because I was thinking, I'm like, because she was like, oh, I can't wait to see you in Glasgow. I'll save up my gyro. Save up my gyro and I'll get a train. I mean, that does make me sound heartless, right? But at the same time, I had to be selfish.
You have to think of yourself.
I do. When
How long
you've
have you
got
been writing so far?
a week. No, like a few months.
At that point, you consider going, well, do you know, actually see the whole murdering a guy?
It's not you. It's not you. It's me. I don't want to ask you to hang on another couple of years. You spread your wings.
Were you worried about the murder hanging case?
No, because she told us a story, and the guy was just a fucking beast. He battered girlfriends and stuff, and the last that he was seeing, she came up to hers to, a bit of protection, and he came up at the door and all that. And in the clip, it was just like peeling a tatty, as if she said that at the coppers. It was just like one Type peelers. I mean, she must have used some force because it's not as if they're sharp.
Yeah,
It's got a wee point, but it's sort of jaggy, like sort of to stick it in.
What's it like? See when you get out of the jail,
Aye.
is it not? What's the feeling like?
It's like it's weird because like I served over 4 years at one sentence. So the last maybe 6 months I was in an open prison, so I got out once a month for 2 days. But when you walk into your house, you feel as if you're fucking a giant. Like the house. But it's surprising how quickly
you get used to it.
You're just back in the routine. Obviously, if I'm in a relationship, I say that I'm still struggling. I don't.
Because like in the Shawshank Redemption, the old guy gets out and he's like,
you can't deal with it. I bet he was in 100 years, wasn't he?
Wasn't the same for your 4 years?
He spent more time in the phone queue than I had.
see, I didn't actually realise this was a thing until you mentioned a conjugal visit or whatever it was called earlier on.
I don't think you get them up here.
Do you know? Because I've only seen it in that Ted Bundy film.
Aye, unless if I know they do in America, but
when you meet the person,
you can meet them and shag them.
I don't think that's
a thing here.
But don't get me wrong, because there's a thing called that you get as well. Like you get out for a couple of hours, so you could go to the local village or something. So I'm sure people. I'm sure people like have met up. Partners there in the toilet or whatever, but it's no, they've not got a designated area. Big man.
A spare bank, so he's going to have your room and 3 minutes, come on.
So I don't know if you want to go into it, but what was your one stint for stealing books?
I get and a couple for drugs.
Taking drugs, selling.
It'd be a lot of drugs getting 8 years if you were just taking it. You'd be getting mad with it for fucking 2 years, 8 years.
So is it like just down sub club and stuff like that?
Just like, I made that club what it is.
At some point they found out who you used to be, basically. I'm pretty sure he said that, like, when he first mentioned you, his mum
his dad used to get stuff up there.
What have we put the name for that?
Do you know, I remember, you will know, like, remember that programme Neighbours?
Aye. Yeah.
Well, there used to be a character called Joe Mangle. Like, he was a sort of, what was Doc Cotton's son called in EastEnders? Dirty Den.
Oh, aye.
He was a sort of equivalent of him. His name was Mark Little. And I remember he came to the sub club one night. He got 5 ecstasy off me and took them in a wanna. I was like, I will not be catching up with you later. I was going to have a conversation with you as a fellow little name.
I was going to say, is there any relation?
Adamski. I remember Steve Strange from Visage. He came up and went, he was wanting heroin. I was like, Glasgow Speed City, my man. Speed City.
Was that your favourite out of your previous lives, Gary?
I love the sub club. The sub club, and I don't want to sound like fucking like, oh, my day and that. But that's I'm at an age now where probably like your granny and grandpa, they spoke about the war. Like your man, dad just knew they'll speak about maybe the odd a job and all that. And now I'm the guy's going, I remember when Eckies first came out. When they were £20 each. But I remember because like everybody was taking speed, that was so every cunt was just looking aggressive in the dancing. And I remember my pal, he used to go down to London to the clubs, and he was like, he goes, Gary, I tried this ecstasy. And I was like, fucking ecstasy, that'd be a lot of shite, right? And he gave us it, fucking hell, John Travolta on the dance floor. Like, people do not realise the huge cultural shift that ecstasy made. Because see, back then, like, you wouldn't be 30 and go into the tune. You go to the boozers for fucking dominoes or darts. You wouldn't. People didn't go. Punters for the scheme never went into the into like cool clubs like the sub club and stuff. Ecstasy broke all the barriers down because everybody came in. Everybody was all fucking loved up and all that. Like, it sounds like fucking wanky, but it was phenomenal. Like, just people coming up and going, you on one and all that. Like, oh, 1, 2. But So it just broke down all the raves like Desert Storm and stuff and all that we had. Like, it just broke down I mean, a new drug that transformed it. I mean, when was the last new drug sort of thing? Probably, but
MCAT. Is that one of the new drugs?
well, but it's no. It wasn't sort of like it's cultural. It's huge. It wasn't as if everybody was like, "Fucking get me that horse stuff."
Meth.
Ketamine.
Social media.
But no, here, like, in Australia, that's fucked up that whole country. But
no, it really is.
Totally ruined. But the thing with the E is like you just. I remember Fergal Sharkey coming into the sub club, gave him and his the Undertones.
All right.
Aye, and he gave him and his girlfriend an E. Then he went all para because she was mad, but she's hanging her. But
and that's what Teenage Kicks is about.
But it was just such a time to be alive. Yeah, but it was because like, the music, acid house and house music and stuff, because there hadn't been a new music sort of, like there was punk. It was probably the last one before that, but maybe ska, a bit of mod, but the house music, and everything that progressed with it, or the Manchester scene and stuff, it's
a proper subculture, right?
Aye,
but you don't really get much of that these days.
No. But that was, it just changed everything. It's probably like people, as I said, your man, dad talking about the 60s, like a whole cultural change, and to be part of it, to be in there about it was fucking, I mean, like, it's hard not to sort of get, to no miss those, like, because that's the thing when you get old, like, you still want to, like, go to a house party, like, okay, like, you still want that, and, but, like, that's just getting old, isn't it?
You still into your recce's and that?
No, like, I had magic mushrooms last year, which was amazing because I hadn't took them for years and years. And I was in Madrid and we got a wee kit and grew them and all that. And I was a bit paranoid because I was thinking, what if I freak out? Like, I've not took, but there was such a laugh. And, like, walking through the parks in Madrid are stunning. And, like, you could even go to a pub and it wasn't like acid where you go, fucking hell's a skeleton. Like, the mushrooms were good. Like, I was surprised at how. Then you wake up in the morning, you're brand new.
Did you ever use it creatively, like the Beatles writing jokes and stuff like that?
Nah, I think I shit myself when I took.
It'd be shame if you actually went to Spain and then you couldn't remember.
I'm sure I was in Spain.
It's in Bishop Briggs.
That's what you call a callback. That's a classic callback.
Aye, because that is so fascinating, though, about how the drugs changed that scene and stuff. Because, like, it was a thing for a time where, like, raves were pure. It was pure on the news all the time, shutting down raves, and that seems such a
people
weird...
meeting up and then going, like, meeting big. I mean, here's the thing, right? I'm sure you still go clubbing and stuff. If you went to the sub club and you seen a guy at 50, you wouldn't go check the old cunt. But back then, you wouldn't even get in. Like this, I'm talking just before all that happened, because 50-year-olds. Wouldn't you go into the tune? You're like, it wasn't a thing. As if, because I remember people, because I've been sort of clubbing since I was 18, like, and people from my scheme, they would go, you still getting into that tune? As if, like, I'm only fucking 27. Like, but
grow up.
You didn't, you get married, you met somebody, you get married, you'd like fucking get, because back then everybody had a job as well. Like, so you worked, you went out at the weekend, get steaming, the local. But it just totally transformed it, like.
And like, because like nowadays you've had hundreds of different Garys, different lives and all that. And nowadays you're into like hill walking and stuff like that. And
hey, look, check my gear on. Check my gear. I don't give a fuck. I mean, see, before if I knew I was coming on a podcast, I would have changed. I would have dressed up now. I don't care. I do not care.
Are these Scarpa 64s?
No, I think they're Scarpas. But I've got 3 layers on. I think I've got 2 pairs of trousers that I slept in last night. It's fucking Baltic.
Because you were saying you've got like a camper van now and stuff.
I went away last week and I didn't check. I had 3 gigs in England and Wales, and I didn't check the diesel heater. And it was no working. There was a hole in the the pipe, so it was just drawing cold air in. And I had thermal trousers on there, jacket, hoodie, hat, line. It was fucking freezing. Freezing. Lesson learned. I got it fixed yesterday, but so.
You love a Monroe as well, don't you?
Oh, I love a Monroe.
How many have you climbed?
193.
Wow.
How many is there?
282. So
you're
I'll get there. But it's just, all the other ones now are like a 3-hour drive minimum. Whereas there's loads that are Arica and stuff, an hour and a half away, so they need more planning. Like I'm in Aberdeen and Saturday, so I was going to do a couple of hills, maybe the Thursday or Friday, just go up in the van and then see if I can fit in. But I'll get there.
How long would it take for a kind of a big one? Was it a couple of hours?
Some of them, like the last, was it 2 we done or 1? It was like a 20-mile walk.
Right.
But the hill wasn't that hard, but it was just a big long walk in. Yeah. Then you get some that as soon as you park the motor, you're starting.
Aye.
I don't like the ones. They're one at a time to get all fucking heart pumping before I
Did it piss you off?
Before I go up.
Did it piss you off during lockdown? Because everybody's now became a
fucking...
You were a trendsetter.
But everybody's joined everybody has got a camper van, because that was a big lockdown thing. You're getting a camper van. You let it doing it up, and then, or a lockdown puppy. Yeah, I had dogs before. But the hills, it's like, you see these, I know it's all for Instagram and stuff, and it's all lassies, and you're going, if the fucking weather turns, you're Baltic, like, they're lycra, and they're like fucking posing up the top, you're going, maybe that's old, you're going like that is no outfit for the top of the hill. You'll catch a death of cold.
You were doing like Airbnb and stuff before, weren't you?
Still doing that.
Still doing
that. Superhost.
Have you had it?
Superhost.
What we're talking a night here?
It's cheap. It's in Balonlock, so you're like £26 a night.
That's good.
That's good. Cheap in a hostel.
Yeah.
Cheap in a hostel.
Do you have any mad cunts?
Do you know what? Do you know that is the reason I started it? Because my pal did it, and she had a couple of fucking cunts walking about the house, in their pants, and she's like, "Hey, I stay here." Right. So I thought maybe I'll meet a psychopath, and I can talk about them on stage. That is purely what I started. I've only had one incident. There was one French guy. He was about my age too. So he just arrived. So I'm sitting on the couch. I went, "Help yourself to coffee or something." And I just happens to look into the kitchen. He's took the kettle, the electric kettle, put it in the hob. It's in fucking flames, right? So I ran in, grabbed it, bit of plastic stuck to my horn, right? Dropped to my brand new trainer, burnt the whole straight away. I went, "What the fuck are you doing?" And he's like, French went, "Huh? What do you mean? What do you mean, huh?" I says, "It's connected to the wall." I says, "You will buy me a new kettle tomorrow." And he got one, a Snyder, so he did it at Tesco. But he didn't, you leave reviews, and he hadn't left a review for me. And I sent him a message. I said, "I have left you a good review." I said, "I have not mentioned the kettle." I said, "Get a review left."
You told me one as well. I don't know if it was maybe one of the first people you had staying or something, but I remember you saying about like how...
Oh, do you know what? Maybe no. He's any representative of Airbnb is looking.
Be a shame if this is what put you in the jail the fifth time.
You sleep with one Airbnb. Yes.
You get chickens in the house as well? You still got them?
No, because when I went to Spain there, the camper van, I only had one left. So my pal who usually watches them, she's bought a camper van as well, so she was fucking off. So I gave it to my pal she's got about 13. Sadly died 2 weeks ago, but I got a couple of years. For a rescue chicken. Here's the thing, right? Don't buy those Snyder chickens. Just pay a couple of... It's not as if they're really expensive. Get a free-range one, because if you've seen the state of the caged chickens, have no feathers, they fucking look like E.T.
I love how you're looking down the barrel of the lens at this.
This is an appeal.
Aye.
Nice Snyder chickens.
This Christmas, don't buy a Snyder chicken. buy a free range. It's terrible. And don't buy extra large eggs either. That just fucking rips their arse. Like, their arse isn't built for fucking extra large eggs.
So they've forced the kind of...
Aye, they just... But see if you've seen the way there's... I mean, it's fucking heartbreaking. Because they're kept in a cage, that's it. I need 4 bit of paper. They don't get out, you know, like... They've no feathers because you don't see any light. I mean, they do look like E.T., but it's brilliant because when you get them, how quickly their feathers come on. Eh? How do you know what E.T. looks like? Stereotype those. E.T. the movie. E.T. the movie.
6 feet with a mullet.
But they're getting the all wee cat. But I didn't realise until you get chickens, they're bully wee bastards. That's how you get the saying hen pecked in pecking order. Because see, when you introduce a new chicken, they're fucking diving on it. They'd kill it. They'd kill it if you don't fucking reprimand them. Oh, no more. No more. That soup. It's waiting in bones. Don't make me.
So can you train chickens?
No, but
the tricks and stuff.
They're really responsive. See when you commit, because they used to come in my back door and peck. I've put a couple of videos up on Instagram, Gary Little Call. Like them chapping the door, and then I opened the door. I remember that daft craze where people were putting obstacles for your dog to jump there. Yeah, like they were building them up. I tried an obstacle course for the chickens. Just fucking walking right through it. But they're great. Now I've got 2 foxes come to the house every night, so I feed them.
Do you? But does that not encourage them to come back?
But I've no chickens just now, so I don't mind.
Is that why you've not got a chicken though? Cause
they did catch 1 chicken or 2. But because I used to let them run about the garden during the day, but then obviously word get out in the street. Chicken Little's fucking free range. Get yourself in there.
My grandpa had chickens and all.
There's thousands of people. I didn't see when I got them. I didn't realise how big because you think chickens, it's people out in the countryside and that. But there's this lassie. She rescues them. Ones that are about to slaughter, because they get slaughtered after like a few months when they're no laying an egg every day, but they still lay an egg. But so she rescues like maybe hundreds, and then she puts out a rehoming thing, and she'll go like, she comes from Dumfries, she'll go like Stirling, like about 6 places. So the first day I went there, it was at this garden centre, there was a fucking queue of about 100 people, and just people that obviously want to keep chickens. But I was dead surprised that I thought, but I was like, I was standing in the queue with this guy, and I was going like that. I was just saying it for a laugh. I was going, so what size should I get for a family of 4? Like, as if I was buying it for the eating and all that. But they're great. And as I say, it's great to see them come on. And get their feathers back and stuff. Totally, it's quite hard.
What was your granddad doing with chickens?
My grandpa, well, he had chickens, but he also, I think one year he had a goose, and it was for Christmas basically, so he was keeping it for Christmas, and a fox in and ate it, and they never had Christmas dinner.
Should have ate the fox.
I feel at that point you would just need to go to Tesco. What was the story about you buying the big fucking porcelain animal thing and putting it in the flat or something?
No, it was the stuffed wild boar.
Yes.
It was a stuffed wild boar. So this is one of the things about taking drugs for a heavy weekend. You can sort of get carried away a wee bit.
It's not fun and games. So, right?
There used to be an antique shop just down the road for me, and I used to spend a fortune. I used to be right into Art Deco, and so I had loads of 30 stuff. But so this had been a heavy session, a heavy weekend, right? So I met this lassie, so I went back to my flat, right? So this was on the Monday. So I said to her, I says, you want me to nip down and get a curry? There was a Chinese. She went, all right then. So I went down, and so I was still a bit sparkly for the night before. So the Chinese shop was right next to the antique shop, and this was in Pollock-Shields, right? And there was a big stuffed wild boar outside in the shop, outside in the street. So I went in and I went, fuck's sake, I says, that's impressive. He went, Gary, wait to see this. So he took us into the back shop. He'd obviously cleared a big baronial hall or something. There was fucking water buffalo horns, you know, like all these things shot by Colonel Mustard in 1890 or something, you know, the plaques, like a gazelle and things, just loads. And I was like, fucking hell, you know, like, I was like, I went, what you want for all these? And he went, 1,500. And no, I stayed in a 2-bedroom flat in Pollock Shields, right? And I was like, I'll take them. I said, I'll take them. And he went, and I had a couple of £100 on us, right? I went, I says, there's a deposit, right? He went, but Gary, he says, got to take the wild boar. Because it was in Pollock Shields, there's a lot of Muslims there. So they were all kicking up fuck because, you know, it was like a pig. Right. So
it was like a taxidermy sort of?
Aye, it was a stuffed wild, a full stuffed wild boar, with the tusks and that. And so I get the curry. I'm walking up, because he went, we've got to take the board just now, right? So I'm walking up the road, right? Now, at the time I had a couple of bull terriers, I had a couple of pit bulls at the time, I used to have pit bulls. So I'm walking up the road, right? And I'm not making it'd be a great line in a sitcom or something, but so the last answer the door, and I was like, I hope you're fucking hungry. And as soon as I walked in, the dog went for it, right? So I had it stoning in the hall, right? But I kept forgetting about it because during the night when I was got up to go to the toilet, I was fucking shitting myself, you know, like I'd get a fright. And so the next day or the next day after, I knew I'd made a blunder, right? I'm going, what the fuck did I buy that for? And I was like, I said, I'm not going back to that shop. I can't even drive by there. You know, like, so I had to go the long way, you know, just so he couldn't go home and go, when he picked me fucking water buffalo horns up, right? And so I bought it for £200, right? I bought it for £200, and then so as the parties went on with fucking hats on it and flags and all that. So when I was selling that flat, my pal had just moved into a flat, and he didn't have any furniture, so I just moved all my furniture into his house. And then I went, you can have that as a housewarming. I gave him I think the last time I seen it, an SS hat or something, right? But, so he had that in the hall, you know, I was fucking, you're just going, what was I thinking?
What was I doing?
It's got to be one of the first things to go in a cost of living crisis.
I have to, you know, imagine take one out and flog it, or something like fucking, or bargain, or that Dickinson's real deal. What you got for us today, Gary? A stuffed wild boar. And they're not even, see their fur or their coat, it's like a fucking brush bristle, you know, it's dead. It's not even as if I could just sit and clap it. Yeah, like just fucking standing there, like, yeah. But I remember stuffed animals. I remember, you know, that pub right across from Clatty Pat's. It used to be called Chimichangas. But they used to have pure random stuff. It was one of the first pubs to have, you know, fucking all these random stuff. And they'd stuffed wild beaver. And my mate knocked it, right? He was steaming one day and he came in here, like, and he was like to us one day, I was doing the videos at the time, so I was doing the videos, and he's like, big man, he went, you know anybody that's looking for a beaver? I was like, I need more info. Is it still alive? He was like, no, it's still. I went, what likes it? He goes, the dog pissed on it. I was like, well, you're not selling this stuff, wild beaver. They get thrown out by the bouncer because there was 2 doors in at the pub. They just walked in the other door and picked up the beaver and fucking walked back out.
Thanks very much for joining us. Before we wrap up, have you got anything to plug coming up?
No.
No,
I've got some, just like, it's before the new year, I'm cutting about Glasgow. So, yeah,
you doing any shows for Glasgow?
No.
You're going to go to the Fringe next year?
I'll be at the Fringe next year again, the Beehive.
Aye, Gary, honestly...
Some books to sell at it.
Aye. Still get some DVDs.
And if you're interested in a copy of the audiobook of Lord of the Rings, but Gary, highly recommend.
But you can, I've got a comedy page, Gary Little Comedian, you know, where I put gigs and stuff. So you can follow that, and I'm on Instagram as well as Gary Little.
Yeah. And
Comedian or comic or something. And I might do some house parties. You may be back. Never say never. I'll obviously change. I'll not be turning up like this.
I actually wore a suit on stage at the Glee on Saturday night.
Oh, did you?
Because you done that, and it seems like the right place to do it.
Aye, especially sort of a Christmas show. Sort of like some people just don't make an effort, do they?
Nah.
Yeah, some people you go like, you've been up a fucking loft or something. You know, like,
I felt quite powerful. I was closing as well. I need some legitimacy.
That's what. Yep.
So
that's what it is. I remember years ago I did a gig up in Shetland. It was like a football dinner thing. And this is before I knew the power. It was my mistake, right? But I turned up and I just had black denims and a black Fred Perry, because I used to always wear Fred Perrys. I went through a phase, and I remember, but I did feel conscious because everybody else had a suit and all the audience had this. And I remember being in the toilet. This cunt was like, he went, "What? Not even a suit?" And I went, "Oh," I said, "I didn't know I needed a suit to be funny," but he was right. Yeah. And he's Slaters the next week. He's a Snyder suit for 90 quid.
Brilliant. Well, listen, thanks again for joining us.
Thanks very much
Cheers,
for
Gary.
being here.
Gary.
See you later.
Before we go, just obviously please remember to like and subscribe on YouTube, give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and you can follow us at Some Laugh Pod at on Instagram, TikTok and Twitter. I should fucking know this, I've been doing it every week. Follow us at Some Laugh Pod on Instagram, TikTok and Twitter, and you can give us an email at somelaughpod@gmail.com.
And if you want to see me at the next live show, just let the boys know. Let the boys know.
100%, yeah.
I'll give Gary 5 stars on Airbnb.
And if you're looking for somewhere cheap and cheerful while you explore Glasgow, I'm on Airbnb. G21 area.
See, as long as you turn up in a suit, Gary, we'll get anyone. Right, thanks a lot, guys. Speak to you soon.
Cheers.
Gary.
Cheers, Gary.
Thank you.
Cheers.
I was going to say
great,
cheers, mate, at the end. But